So as you guys would have read in the title of today's video, I'm finally getting to reveal our very first project car. Alright, so the camera's set up. The car is sitting in the shed behind this roller door. This has been a long time coming. Finally having a project car to work on. Hopefully you guys are as stoked as I am. So I can finally reveal that the car that we got our hands on is a 2008 Ford Mondeo XR5 Turbo. Okay, so this car is actually pretty sentimental to me. It's been in my car for probably 15 plus years, I'd say. My dad bought it off his best mate, who drove, I think he drove it for probably 10 plus years. It then got passed on to my mum, and it's now been passed on to me. Now, I've always told Dad that I would love to restore this thing because it's been in our family for so long. I grew up in this car, and unfortunately over the years it's just been a little bit more neglected than it should have. But now it is finally my chance to tear this thing apart. I want to sand the whole thing back, respray it, clean up the inside, just make this thing brand new, and then hopefully do a bit of a custom build on this thing too. Obviously that's going to depend on the budget that I have for this car, but I would like to do as much of this car as I can. Now, obviously this thing doesn't have a motor. We're going to get into that later. It's kind of the reason why I have the car to begin with. For now, we'll leave the motor. Have a quick walk around of the car. So they come standard with the 18-inch wheels. I'm not the biggest fan of them, but they are also kind of cool. You get the XR5 turbo badges, which Dad went ahead and put the orange paint on, which I think comes from a Focus. You get this little sort of lip wing spoiler. There's not too much going on the outside. One of the downfalls I find with this car is it doesn't look very wide. You know, it's got sort of got some flares there, but it's not a great deal. Now, the headlights are pretty big and bulky. They're like a clear sort of crystal headlight, which again, I think a bit more black would have been added to it. The silver grille at the front. Dad's paint matched this to suit the car. Now, as you can see, the interior is just starting to peel away and fall apart from the sun. It is 15 years old, but this is definitely something that I want to fix up. You get inside the car and you've got an Alcantara sort of leather combo going on in the seats, which I absolutely love, but that is definitely going to have to be replaced. You can see how worn some of this is getting. The boots are going to have to be fixed for that. We're getting a bit of a tear in the gear stick. Now you can see here that this particular model is a 6-speed manual. I think some of these did come out in automatic, but I'm super happy that this is a manual. It just makes this car so much more enjoyable to drive. Now, this orange around the trimming, again, it's not standard. It's one of the newer Focus colors that it comes out in. I think it's called Tangerine Scream, maybe. But Dad went ahead and went a bit silly with it. He's put some FPV badges everywhere. Some stuff sitting in the back for now. These are all the trims off the windows, and we just got some bits and pieces off the old motor that was in the car. Steering wheel, I think, is absolutely sick. There's something about holding this wheel when you're driving it, which is unreal. You've got dual zone climate control. The front seats are also heated, which is mad in winter. And you've got your automatic headlights and wiper blades for the windscreen, which I know is a standard feature in cars these days. I know it's pretty common, but I think back in 2008 when this was released, it was a bit of a luxury to have these sorts of features. Now the head unit is just like a red sort of LED screen. It's not very fancy or special. It's definitely like the CarPlay that we get these days. One thing I forgot to mention about the outside of this car is it does have a turbo back X-Force exhaust, which Dad put on this. And in my opinion, this has to be one of the best sounding car exhaust combos that I've ever heard. Putting your foot down in this car and just hearing the car rip, it just does something to you. It is an awesome sounding car, especially for a 5-cylinder. This exhaust may be going, I'll get it into that a little bit later in the video, as well as the motor. But for now, this is just a short sort of walkthrough over this car. Yeah, we've got a bit of work to do, but I think we can do this car a whole lot of justice. Okay, so as you guys saw at the start of the video, the car that we picked up does not have a motor. And that's because it's sitting here at Mum and Dad's place. Now, as I mentioned, the car used to be Mum and Dad's, and this is the motor that was in it when Mum was driving it last. The reason that I picked up the car is because we thought the motor was having issues. The car kept cutting out and blowing fuse F9, I think, which when we did some research had to do with the engine management system. When we dug down into the engine bay and actually started to have a look to see if we could see any problems with the wiring, we found this on the wiring loom down the front bottom of the car. As you can see, the plastic has come away and there's all frays. So obviously, while the car was driving and the vibrations that were going through this ECU loom, at some point those wires were touching probably the body of the car, and they were shorting the whole wiring system out, which is why the motor kept turning off and not starting. Now, when we looked online for a replacement, we couldn't find anything for under, I think, $1,900 or for a Mondeo. Now, that's where this car comes in. We found this on Marketplace for $1,200, and the lady was selling it because the motor has a knock in it and she didn't want to have to deal with replacing it. But as you can see, down here where our wiring problem is, everything is intact and is okay. So for $1,200, we're getting a new wiring loom. We're going to take this motor out, which is going to become mine. I'm going to try and fix the one that's in the shed. We'll get this wiring loom put in it and put back into this car. The interior, other than the standard wear on the sidebar of the chair, the interior in this car is in way better condition than Mum's old one is. It's got the standard wear and tear around the shift boot, on the handbrake boot, but other than that, the lever on the door is slightly peeling, but we can fix that easily enough. It's only just sort of started, but everything in this interior is pretty clean. The lady installed an aftermarket head unit, so this car has CarPlay and all of that extra stuff, and the unit itself looks like it come out of the car. I'm pretty sure this car too only has 130,000 Ks on it. Back seats, mint condition. It's like no one's even sat in the back. The paint job isn't 100%, but it's definitely in better condition than Mum's old car. Plus it's got some aftermarket 18-inch wheels. Now, as I mentioned before, the exhaust system that's on my car at home, I'm not sure if I'm keeping it because I don't know if Mum wants to put it back on the car. She always complained about it being droney while driving it, but I know she also loves the sound of it, so she probably won't want to give it away. So at this point, I'm not too sure what's going to happen with that, but that'll come in time. So back to this motor. It's a 2.5 litre Duratec inline 5-cylinder turbo, which was actually designed and made by Volvo. Ford just decided to use this engine in their Mondeo and XR5 turbo models. Now, these things from standard produce about 217 horsepower or 162 kilowatt at 5,000 RPM. And they run about 320 Newton meters of torque, and it goes from 0 to 100 in roughly 7.5 seconds. Now, the only real downside for me with these cars is that they come out in a front wheel drive. I would have loved to have seen these come standard in an all-wheel drive or even a rear wheel drive, but for now we're just gonna have to deal with the front wheel drive. I've heard of people taking the drivetrain out of the V50 Volvos, I think they are, or even the Focus RSs, and converting them to all-wheel drive. But for us at the moment, the goal is to restore this thing, so paint interior, pull apart the motor, see if we can fix whatever the knock is causing the knock, and just get this thing back on the road before we start pulling it apart and doing a crazy build on it. The other thing I noticed with the Mondeos too is there's actually not a whole lot of people, at least online, that have done a heap of work to these cars. I could not find any cars that have been modified when I was looking for inspiration. There doesn't seem to be any sort of aftermarket body kits for these things. So although there wasn't a whole heap of sort of inspiration ideas, the one thing I do like about that is this could potentially be one of the first documented builds of a Mondeo out there. Now, there's plenty of the Focus builds, the XR5 turbos, the STs, the RSs, and those things seem to be pushing roughly sort of 500 horsepower, which my aim was about 400 to 500. The Mondeo, obviously being a bigger car, it is heavier, and that's going to affect how much you feel the power of the car. But I think we can do this car a heap of justice. As I said, there's not many out there that have been documented, so I think it'd be sick to have one of the first ones online anyway that we can do some stuff to and hopefully do a full build on. Now, if you guys made it to the end of this video, I appreciate you guys so much. I'm going to do my absolute best to make the best content that I can with the Mondeo, and hopefully I can grow this channel into something that is just completely about building cars, modifying cars. And like I said, I'm going to do my absolute best to provide the best content I can for you guys. So if you guys are keen to watch the journey, please hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next video.